What's up guys, my name is Hunter and today we are going to be talking about lenses, specifically lenses for the Sony E-mount system, which is what I shoot with for my videos and my photos, but these lenses can still translate to Canon or Nikon or Lumix, whatever you shoot with. But today, since I shoot with Sony, we are going to be talking about Sony lenses. Now, I've gotten a few questions on my Instagram as to what lenses and gear I use to capture the photos and videos that I post. And today I'm going to just do a quick run through of the lenses that I use for my Sony A7 III. So like I said, my main camera is going to be the Sony A7 III full frame mirrorless camera from Sony. If you are in the photo video world at all, you know this camera. One of the most popular full frame mirrorless cameras on the market. For the price, it's about the best that you can get currently. So the main lens that I use for most of at least my photos is going to be the Tamron 28-75 2.8 zoom. Now for the price that you can get this at, which is about $850 to $900 depending on where you look, it's an amazing zoom lens, constant 2.8, and compared to the Sony version, which is above $2,000, you can't really beat it with this lens. I use this to capture photos like this, and this, and it really gives an amazing look. It's more of a plastic build, so it's lightweight and it's not too burdensome to carry around with you, and that's one of the big things I love about this. I wish it was a little bit wider at 24 millimeters, but for what you're getting, 28 is perfectly fine, and I've never really had too much of an issue running at that, as long as it's just for photo work or any videos that's not like a vlog style. This lens does some amazing work. Now the second lens that I use is going to be a wide angle. I use it for a lot of video stuff and then also architecture work or just creative portraits. Also, it's an amazing vlog lens because of the focal length, and it's super cheap. I think it's one of the best lenses for content creators and people just trying to build up their kit and don't have money for, G Master glass from Sony. And that lens is going to be the Sony 20mm 1.8. Now with this lens, you get it for around $900. And you're still getting G Master quality in my opinion. I've shot with the Sony G Master 24, and this thing is really hard to tell the difference in terms of quality and sharpness. Of course, you're getting 1.8 instead of 1.4. I'm totally fine with a 1.8 lens. I never have needed to go lower than that. But I use this lens to capture a lot of my vlog style videos, as well as just a lot of video content when on a gimbal. It's a really lightweight, small lens, so it does really well on a gimbal. And I use it to capture photos like this, and also like this. This is one of my favorite lenses to use for street photography and just a run and gun lens. I've captured photos of my dogs that turned out really awesome right here. If you need a wide angle lens and you don't want to pay for the 24 G Master, this is going to be an amazing one. I actually like this focal length a little bit more than the G Master. I feel like 24 isn't quite wide enough for like a wide angle shot. This one gives you that wide angle look without being too skewed and too distorted on the image, but it's just super sharp. I've used it for astrophotography too. It's just wide enough to get the full Milky Way, which I feel like 24 is not wide enough to capture a really good Milky Way shot. But if you look at this shot right here, I used it right when I got the 1.8 G lens, and it does wonders. Now the third and final Sony lens that I personally own is going to be the 90mm 2.8 macro G. This thing is amazing. I've used it for portrait work. I've used it for detail work in terms of beauty photography. I've used it for macro work, product videos, and this thing is really just one of the sharpest lenses ever made. It has optical steady shot built into it. It has a really unique design compared to some of the other Sony lenses. So if you look, it has a clutch system for manual and autofocus. It has this really cool blue and orange pattern for your distances in terms of your macro work. You also have a focus limiter, and like I said, optical steady shot. This is one of my favorite lenses of all time. Like I said, this thing's amazing for macro work, but also a lot of portraiture and beauty photography. A lot of websites and review sites have named it as one of the sharpest lenses ever made, and it's very true. I've used it to capture images like this. This one right here is going to be a detail shot I use, and it's just tack sharp on the skin. And you can also use it for product shots and actual macro work, like some of these photos right here. So, with all that being said, those are my Sony lenses. Now there is one more lens, actually a few more that I sometimes use, but it's gonna be a little bit of a different one. The last lens that I use for some of my more creative photo shoots is going to be the Canon FD 50mm 1.8. Now this lens right here is interesting because it's made for the Canon film cameras. So I use an adapter from a company called Photodiox. It is an FD to NEX, or FD to E mount. And of course your lenses are going to be fully manual when you use this. So you click this adapter right onto your Canon glass, and now that has a Sony E mount on the back, and you can use it on your Sony full frame or crop sensor cameras. And you get a really interesting look with this. You get kind of the different color and look that you would get out of a film lens. Arguably one of the sharpest lenses I've ever used, but this thing is really awesome to use for more creative stuff. If you're wanting to get a slight film look on your digital camera, it does a wonderful job at that too. I don't use it a lot, but if I'm looking for something just different, interesting, I will toss this onto my Sony camera and get some pretty cool results. So that right there was all of my Sony E-mount glass plus one extra lens from my Canon film camera. And those 4 lenses that I use, it's all I use on my photos and video. And to be honest, those are really all I need. I've thought about getting an 85 1.8 from Sony and a few other lenses, but currently this setup works for me. I have my all-purpose zoom lens, my wide angle, and my more telephoto, portrait, and macro lens. Now, this may not work for everybody, but this is just to give you an idea of what I use for my work. If you were wondering, or if you needed just some lens recommendations, all 3 of these are going to be amazing to use on the Sony system. So that's going to be it for me today, guys. If you have any more questions about these lenses, I can definitely dive in and do more in-depth reviews on these lenses. But for today, I am going to leave you with that. I hope you have a wonderful day.